Everybody, welcome back to Kicking in the Second Half, KISH YZ. This is episode 30. We're going to do this in two parts. So this is part one, which is going to be the predictions or breakdowns of the Eastern Conference play-in tournament, which begins May 18th, Tuesday, which is probably today because the posting of this video will be Tuesday. So I hope you all enjoy that. But before we begin, once more, I'm D, back again with Hugh. What up, Hugh?
Yo, what's going on?
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Like I said, this is the Eastern Conference play-in tournament. So a few details, and then obviously we can get into the subject here. So yeah, May 18th. These games, if you're in the States and you're listening to this, these games are going to be on TNT. Let's see what we have. So they're going to looks like they're running both games in the same day. So you get round one upper tier, round one lower tier. Once again, if you're needing help on explaining the play-in tournament right before it begins, please visit our YouTube page and click the video where I kind of explain the play-in tournament. But yeah, I like to call it an upper tier round one and a lower tier round one. So it kind of makes it more clear as far as who advances where, as far as after the completion of each round. So in round one, lower tier. So let's start with the lower tier, Hugh. You know, we got the lower tier. It starts at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time if you're in the States. On TNT is where it's going to be broadcast. And we have number 10 of the regular season standings on the East, the Charlotte Hornets, versus the number 9th seed of the regular standings, season standings at the Indiana Pacers arena. So I'm not sure what it's called, their arena, but so yeah, Hornets at Pacers, Hugh. I'm not sure if that sounds like an exciting game for you, but what are your thoughts about that? Because, you know, not too long ago, the Hornets were basically like around 5th or 6th seed, but they ended up in 10th.
I agree with that. It's probably not the most exciting matchup, but definitely a good one there. You shout out. I just want to first shout out UVA, my boy Malcolm Brogdon. Looks like he's coming back and playing. I think is what you said. So shout out him. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Yeah,
Well,
in my opinion,
let me give
Charlotte
you
should have
some
been higher.
key. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Okay, because yeah, you mentioned Malcolm Brogdon, so I have some key notes that are written down for this game. One, Gordon Hayward. You know, you and I just talked about that before we started. Gordon Hayward is out, but for the Pacers, looks like Domantas Sabonis, Aaron Holiday, and Edmund Sumner, they are questionable for the game. And obviously, no Miles Turner. He's still dealing with his injury. There's no timetable for him, from what I saw. And then Malcolm Brogdon is a game time decision, sorry. So there's no answer as of right now when I looked up this information, if he is guaranteed to play or not. I guess they're going to probably see how he feels in warmups and see if he can handle that and then go from there. But I would say, man, it's going to be tough. If Domantas Sabonis is out, with this being a lower tier round where, you know, it's win or go home from this point for them, that, you know, maybe they don't put Brogdon in. They just take the chance of sitting him out for the next game, or just sitting him out if they lose, if they don't have Sabonis in there, because, you know, that's going to be kind of tough to put a lot of pressure on somebody who's coming back from injury. But yeah, go ahead and give us your opinion on it. But yeah, I just want to throw in some of those keynotes as far as players that may or may not be in today's game.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that about Sabonis. Yeah, if the Pacers want a shot, it looks like Karis LeVert going to have to put up like 50. That's how it's looking for me. But
yeah, I agree with the same thing.
I mean, yeah, but yeah. So give me my prediction here is going to be Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to win this game. I think one of the main reasons is LaMelo Ball is back, and we know that they're kind of a different team with them on the court. I do agree with something you touched on earlier. How, you know, earlier this season they were like the 5th seed, so they did drop a little bit. It's kind of doesn't look very good how they ended up 10th, but I mean, I understand, you know, LaMelo was out
but it
for a
was a
while.
tight race there
And
towards the end, because they were like in 8th
yeah,
or something like that, and then the Wizards had like the tiebreaker, and then they bumped up, and I mean, it was tight. So, you know, just looking at the seeding, yeah, they're in 10th, but it was actually a close race there where they could have finished a little bit higher.
yeah, and I mean, you know, you had a bunch of teams that got on a good roll there at the end, like Washington and the Knicks and you know, the Heat and teams
Yep.
like that that started winning a lot there at the end. So I do understand, but it's unfortunate for them. They should have at least earlier in the season looked like they were going to be pretty high ranked in the East, but they slipped a little bit. But yeah, I do think that their team started playing better. I think they started running kind of a small ball lineup towards the end of the year a little bit, and I think they had PJ Washington at the 5, and I think
Okay.
they were actually playing really good basketball doing that. I know Cody Zeller was just not playing much at all. Like some games he wasn't even playing at all. Like he was just coach's decision just
Coaching
not to play. He
decision.
was healthy,
Yeah.
but yeah. So maybe they if they don't have Sabonis, well, I know Miles Turner's legitimately their 5, but Sabonis can play it. So maybe if Sabonis does play or doesn't play, they run more of that small ball lineup. It looks to be giving them some success. But yeah, especially with all those injuries you just went over with the Pacers, I thought Brogdon was back, but the fact that he's even a game time decision. So even if they do have him, Sabonis, Miles Turner, Edmund Sumner, guys like that, good guys for them. Yeah, give me Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm definitely agreeing with your points there. Karis LeVert definitely needs to have a big game, and he's definitely capable of doing that. We've seen him do it, here lately. We've seen him do it last year on the Brooklyn Nets, even when they were resuming the regular season in the bubble last year. He had some great games. So, yeah, definitely a really talented dude. And I would like to argue, when we do talk about in the offseason what teams need to do or what we think they should do in the offseason, but I'll go ahead and mention that as a sneak preview that Karis LeVert, in my opinion, is like the second best player that they have. He's behind Sabonis now. He's right there, and then followed by Malcolm Brogdon, in my opinion. But they can definitely form somewhat of their own big three there. But yeah, LeVert definitely deserves the credit there. But yeah, he's definitely going to have a big game. But that's still asking a lot against a Charlotte Hornets team that has surpassed many expectations when they were seated where they were during most of the regular seasons, in my opinion. Like they were just riding in the middle of the pack for a good while, even when LaMelo Ball went out. And then return of him, it was kind of like, well, they should at least sustain enough to make the play-ins, and that's where they're at now. And I also like to mention that O'Shea Brissett, which is I think like a backup power forward. Obviously, if Sabonis is out, he's another guy that would definitely need to have a decent game. And yeah, I don't expect him to drop 50, but he definitely needs to play a good size role there for the team. But yeah, hopefully some of these guys do get playing time. Justin Holiday is not listed as an injured person or on the injury list. So, I look for him to have a pretty decent, pretty solid game. Probably need to drop at least about 18 to 22 or more if possible. And then Doug McDermott, a guy that nobody talks about there, but he can knock down some threes, and he could go on a little scoring run, which is basically mostly what all he contributes in the form of 3-pointers. But yeah, it's going to be tough for the Pacers. So yeah, give me the Hornets as well winning this round. So if our predictions were to come true, in this scenario, the Pacers will be out for the season. They're done. They're going fishing, and the Charlotte Hornets would advance to the second round of the play-in of the Eastern Conference. And so I'll mark them down for the second round. And before we get into the second round, obviously we need to finish up the first round. So to finish up the first round, we need to focus on the upper tier, which would be the seeds 7 and 8. So this game is going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on TNT. And this is the game between the Washington Wizards, who are the 8th seed of the regular season, at the Boston Celtics, the 7th seed of the regular season. And I'll go ahead, Hugh, before you say your piece, some key notes that I wrote down. Not too much here as far as injuries compared to the other team. Obviously, Bradley Beal's returning from his minor injury that he had, and I read something that said he was not 100%, but I obviously expect him to play. He did play in Sunday's matchup, so he returned for there. And Raul Neto, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. He's questionable. He's like a backup guard for the Washington Wizards. And then obviously on the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, unfortunate situation there. He's not going to be here for the rest of the season. So doesn't matter this game, the next game, or whatever the case is, he won't be there. Robert Williams, a guy that you're familiar with, one of their backup bigs. He is a game time decision for this matchup. So as of right now, I think what I acquired was that their starting 5 for the Boston Celtics looks to be Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier, Jason Tatum, and Tristan Thompson.
Okay. Did you want to take this game first? I took the last one
Oh
first.
no,
You can take it first if you
I've
want.
been feeling it a lot, so I don't mind you giving your opinion. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're listening to this and you are, whoops, sorry about that. If you're listening to this or watching this, give us a thumbs up if you like the video. If you like the content, please leave in the comments anything else you would like to see or like for us to do. We do take suggestions. But yeah, give us a subscribe if you haven't already. That way we can keep up with our content. Like I said, we're going to try to get this thing rolling through the playoffs as well after we finish up this play-in tournament. So, keep it locked here if you don't mind. And yeah, go ahead, Hugh, and plug in your piece as far as what you wanted to say about this series here. The Wizards at the Celtics.
Okay. Okay. I think it's just intriguing. A lot more you know, bigger game. Just I mean name wise, than the Hornets and Pacers, the Wizards
For
and
sure.
Celtics. I do think this would be 100% a different game if Jaylen Brown was healthy and playing. If that was the case, I would probably choose Boston to win, but that is not the case, and I am leaning on the side of Washington to win this game. Russell Westbrook has been playing outstanding, missed a triple double now. I think he's gotten straight triple double in what probably the last 8-10 games probably. I mean, he's been going dumb lately with triple
Not to
doubles,
only
but I
mention, I
mean,
saw on Instagram that he actually averaged, another triple double for the season. So basically, what does it date back? I think it's 5 out of the last 6 seasons or 4 out of the last 5. The last season last year with the Rockets, he did not average triple double, but outside of that, he's been averaging triple doubles. I think 4 out of the last 5
I
seasons.
think it's at 4. Yeah, I think it's at 4.
Yeah, so that's Mr. Triple Double. Wow.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, Hugh,
but
this
yeah,
is a matchup that looking back at the regular season or back when we started this podcast, we'd probably be like, I don't know why the Celtics would be that low. They started off when we started the podcast, they were down kind of low. We figured they'd pick it back up. But obviously you couldn't predict the injury to Jaylen Brown and how long Jason Tatum was out for with COVID. But the Wizards are kind of where I thought they would have been when they made the trade for Russell Westbrook. I figured around as high as 6, as low as ninth or so, but 8th sounds pretty good to me. But obviously this is the play-in, so this is not the official playoff spot. So I would probably agree with you. I'm going to lean definitely to the Wizards because Russ is still playing red hot. This is a single elimination game, so this is not, like we said, it's not the playoffs format of a best of a 3-game or 5-game or 7-game series. It's one and done. And you got Bradley Beal there, even if he's not 100%. Russ makes the right plays. I'm taking the Wizards as well. So you definitely agree, right? Wizards.
yeah, yeah. Give me the Wizards.
So with that being said, that would conclude the first rounds of the Eastern Conference play-in tournament. So we had the Wizards winning the first round on the upper tier. So that would make, in this scenario, the Wizards the 7th seed for the playoffs. So they would be playing the Brooklyn Nets, which that would be very appealing to me because I want to see that matchup for sure. And since the Celtics in this scenario, they've lost the first round, they would be in the 8th, potentially in the 8th seed, playing for the 8th seed. They'll be moving on to round 2 of the Eastern Conference playoffs, play-in tournament. Sorry, I'm trying not to get my words too mixed up. So in the second round of the Eastern Conference play-in tournament, we would see the Charlotte Hornets, who were the 10th seed, playing the Boston Celtics at Boston, who are the 7th seed of the end of regular season. And these teams will both be competing for the 8th spot. Loser goes home. So Hugh, just, tell me who you got here and why. What do you see happening? Anything stand out to you?
Yeah. So in this matchup, I would go with Boston to win at home. I mean, I think they got good pieces. But I don't think they have enough to beat the Wizards in one game. A 7-game series for them might be different, but in this single game, one thing we've been talking about with the Celtics a lot is like lack of a elite big man. And like I just touched on with Charlotte, they've been running a lot of small ball because they don't have an elite big man. So I don't think that necessarily hurts them, especially in a one game, just win or go home in this little and how they have this set up. But I mean, you still do have guys like Kemba and Tatum. Evan Fournier was struggling when he first came to Boston, but he's kind of balling there towards the end, putting up consistent numbers, shooting the ball well. Kemba's kind of hit or miss, but he's been playing decent. We all know what Tatum's able to do, and just, I mean, I think it'll be a good game. I think Charlotte will keep it close, but but I probably have the Celtics winning a one game winner go home game there.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of the more intriguing matchups here with the Charlotte Hornets. Obviously, this is more intriguing than their first round. So if they were to advance to this and end up playing the Celtics, man, I might almost have to give it to the Charlotte Hornets, unfortunately, for the Celtics fans, because the Charlotte Hornets, a couple things there. I feel like they're a very streaky team. So if you're talking about them winning the first round, carrying that momentum into Boston, yeah, they're not at home once more. But don't forget, Terry Rozier played there a few seasons back, and he played there for several years. So he's familiar with that court. And no Jaylen Brown there, who's a heck of a defender or two-way player there. You know, some of those doors might be kind of wide open. I mean, they do have Marcus Smart there, but I don't expect like Evan Fournier to defend like Jaylen Brown. So I'm kind of interested to see, because not only are they kind of like a streaky team, but they have high momentum moments where they can just get going. And I feel like the Charlotte Hornets could take advantage of some mishaps with the Boston Celtics and make great pushes. But yeah, the good thing for the Boston Celtics fan is that y'all are playing a home game once more. But after coming off of a loss, this is definitely, obviously it's a win or go home situation, but it puts even more pressure because you have to win this game. But I will say what, I will give it to the Boston Celtics, but Jason Tatum has to go 40 or more points. He has to have at least 40 points for this to happen, in my opinion. There's just not going to be enough if he ends up under 40. Like if he gets 35, it's going to look like a great game, but I don't know if it's going to be enough shooting there. Let me just say that him, Kimba, and Fournier probably need to combine for at least like 85 of their points. So let's say he goes 40. So the other remaining 45 points need to come from Kimba and Fournier for sure. But I mean, even still, that's only 85 versus a Hornets team that could easily put up 110 points or 105 points there. So you definitely need Tatum, in my opinion. I feel like I want to say 50. That might be too bold, but I'm interested to see that, because that's what defines greatness sometimes. And Jason Tatum is definitely a great player, in my opinion, and definitely on the rise. So this is another opportunity for him. It's an adverse opportunity because of Jaylen Brown not being there, but he's just going to be relied upon more heavily. And I think he's ready for that challenge. So yeah, if he were to lose the first round, I think, you know, the second round, he definitely would live up to playing his heart out, but the result might not end in their favor.
Yeah, I respect that. I definitely think it'll be a good contest. I just think personally that, I mean, it comes down to Evan Fournier for me. That you know, probably a month ago I would give it to the Hornets because he was not playing well for Boston. But I think here lately, you know, he's consistently put up, you know, like 20 some points a game, something like that. Last time I checked in on his numbers, so I don't know. I just see him having a decent game and being enough to carry them over the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, shout out to the Boston Celtics fans. But yeah, real quick, we're going to take like I guess like a brief summary. If you're listening to the audio only version, you can find this on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, I think Breakers as well. So there'll be like a brief pause here, and we'll resume with the second part of this episode, which is the Western Conference play in tournament. But yeah, if you're watching this video on YouTube, obviously, you know, just you'll see the second part. It's going to be a separate video, and we'll have that posted as well. But yeah, this just wraps up our predictions and what we're expecting to see through our eyes with the Eastern Conference play-in tournament, which begins today, Tuesday, May 18th. And just to backfill, the round 2 of the Eastern Conference play-in tournament will be Thursday, May 20th, Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock. On TNT again. So yeah, all the Eastern Conference play-in tournament is being covered through TNT on U.S. national broadcast. So once again, thanks for kicking in the second half. KISH YZ, I'm D. Peace and love.